There are so many art styles in the art community on TikTok and other social media platforms. But while some of these art styles have become loved by massive fans, some art styles have been absolutely hated and frowned upon for seemingly no reason. Starting with the most hated art style of all, the jelly art style.
Art styles that I hate. Number 1.
The popular jelly art style has been around for quite a while. A lot of artists have drawn in various forms of this art style, and while this cute, colorful, juicy looking lips and rather fancy looking eyes with full lashes art style is quite popular in the art community, it has garnered likewise as much hate as its popularity. Jelly art style is cool, but they all look the same. Jelly art style always has same face syndrome. They never look different from each other. Jelly art style is so boring. It's obvious a large number of people are clearly infuriated by this art style because of its sudden popularity and are saying all the artists who draw in this art style all make art that look incredibly similar. The faces always look the same for the most part, and they all have a similar way of rendering the face, which is kinda how art styles work. But most of the hate the jelly art style receives was heightened after a popular artist who also draws in the jelly art style on TikTok called out another younger artist for supposedly stealing their art and tracing it. People began attacking the artist, but they then posted a process video showing that they made the entire drawing themselves and only used the other artist's work as a reference. The whole situation caused a huge back and forth with people calling each other names and whatnot, which just left a sour taste about the art style in everyone's mouth, especially on TikTok. The next art style which gets a lot of hate for some reason is the beginner art style or lack thereof. I don't know why beginner artists get so much hate just because of the way they draw. I mean, I never thought I'll have to explain the concept of being a beginner at something you're not really good at in a YouTube video, but here we are now. This beginner artist on TikTok was bullied so much because of the way they drew to the point where they had to leave the platform entirely just to preserve what was left of their sanity. Comments like rendering process and ugly art style were among thousands of comments the artist had to read every single day after they posted a video of them drawing one of their original characters. According to the art scholars and drawing professors on TikTok, the art style was ugly because of the way the artist drew the eyes far apart from the other features of the face and claimed it was unrealistic. They even compared it by drawing the literal skull of the character beside the regular skull of a normal human being, showing that the proportions were far off and claiming the art style was dumb even when it was clear to everyone that it was only stylized. Another art style included in the beginner artist starter pack and is also commonly used by seasoned artists as well is chicken scratching or scribbling, which has also received a highly remarkable amount of hate as well, for no reason at all. According to the artist on TikTok, chicken scratching or scribbling your drawing before finalizing on a stroke and cleaning it up makes the drawing look ugly and amateurish. So beginner artists and everyone else who draws in that art style should completely avoid it. No questions asked. Personally, I don't have a problem with chicken scratching or scribbling when you draw. There's nothing wrong with having a few extra lines in your drawing, and to me, I actually find it kind of appealing. I have drawn with both clean lines and sketchy lines, and to be honest, I feel the sketchy lines give the drawing so much more character and confidence, much more than clean looking line art. The next art style that gets absolutely hated, especially on TikTok, is none other than Kooleens art style. Please tell me why everyone is hating on our smegzy mommy's art style.
That right there is the face of someone who has faced multiple sexual assault charges.
Kooleen, who was once and still probably is the most loved and cherished smegzy mommy of the art community, has found herself in multiple controversies throughout her career as an artist and art YouTuber, which has caused the foundations of her reputation staggering across her social media platforms, while she frantically holds the pillars together with every new video she uploads on her YouTube channel. Kooleen and her art style is receiving the hate wave because the community of seasoned haters claim all her drawings look the same and suffers from same face syndrome, which according to them is why her art style looks so boring. Kooleen has TikTok videos dedicated to hating on her art because it looks like AI apparently, while some others say her drawings look dull because of the colors she uses in her work, and some even claim Kooleen is a robot in disguise, which I am rather inclined to agree with. While there are an ungodly amount of videos on TikTok all dedicated to hating on Kooleen and her art style, a bunch of people decided to take it a step further, shifting into the next gear if you will, by roasting Kooleen's art because apparently she roasted their own drawings and drawings of other people in her fan base, which ideally shouldn't really be a problem because for the most part the people who get their art roasted usually give their consent and usually enter into these roasting videos under the hashtag Kooleen roast me or something like that, which clearly means they knew what they were getting into before it even started. I don't think there's anything wrong with Kooleen's art style. Yeah, she may need some variety in the faces she draws, but every other artist needs some variety in the faces we all draw as well. It's a decent art style that doesn't take itself too seriously, and I think she can take it further if she wanted to add more details, play around with the lighting and make it colorful, or she could simply just leave it as cell shading if she wanted.
Wanna learn how to draw a ooh la la girl? Alright, let's start with a quick sketch. Ooh, got mommy. Let's add some juicy colors. Alright. Juicy lips. You wanna make sure that she has a thick eyebrows. Now let's make her lashes more thicker to make her look emo. Now let's show a big badonkas. Ooh, hot mommy. Now let's add some details. Smacks.
The next art style that gets so much hate is hyperrealism and any form of realism at all. Now this art style I truly don't enjoy. I don't hate it or people who draw in this art style, but I just don't enjoy it at all. I'm sure it must take a shit ton of patience to be able to draw every single strand of hair on a baboon's butt, but personally I don't find that fascinating at all. I'm much more interested in simplified and anime looking art styles for the most part. A lot of people on TikTok found the realism art style to be boring and uninspiring because the artists are capturing whatever is in front of them realistically instead of transforming their imaginations into drawings, which makes them refer to hyperrealism and other forms of realistic drawings as bland and tasteless. An artist who supposedly draws in this art style left a comment asking why people hated the art style, and the entire comments were filled with people arguing and going back and forth with each other, explaining why realism sucks and how it isn't visually appealing as other art styles because it's apparently socially acceptable by the society. While the mass majority of people unanimously despise realism, others still enjoy it because to them it's an achievement not everyone will be able to accomplish, because it takes a whole lot of years to perfect and an absurd amount of patience and discipline to be able to just sit in one place rendering all the tiny details in a single drawing. Cool art style, but just not for me. A bonus art style which gets so much hate as well is the corporate art style, which is also referred to as corporate Memphis. This is the art style you'll always see on Facebook and every other tech company for some reason. They all seem to love this art style because of its simple geometric shapes and how easy it is to use with motion graphics and illustrations. But this art style gets a ton of flack in the art community. Mostly people hate it because they feel it's a total sum of all the corporations which have been controversial in recent years and considered as evil, and apparently the art style is also seen as boring and soulless due to all the reasons previously stated. Now I don't find this art style charming at all, and I don't think I'll ever see myself drawing in this way, but of course I understand people who have to draw like this for work, because if every corporation is frantically trying to use it on their platform, then that means it's working, right? But personally it's just a big fat no for me. I'll probably just vomit if I was forced to draw in this art style.
Here's an actually unpopular opinion. The big tech corporate art style, also known as corporate Memphis, everybody hates it, except for me. Would I hang it up in my house? Absolutely not, never, okay? But am I okay with Google and Facebook using it? Yes. It's easy to look at. It's very easy to recolor it so that it kind of like matches a color scheme. It's very versatile. Is it boring and does it lack personality? Sure it does, but so do corporations. So I don't really get why so many people are complaining that like the characters are disproportionate because they're cartoons. When are cartoons ever proportionate? It's just whimsical. Give it a rest.
Now that we've talked about some art styles that have been hated, let's move on to some art styles people love in the art community. But if you know any other art style that gets so much hate or people consider as controversial, you could leave them in the comments. Now, onto the most loved art styles in the art community. Art styles that bring you peace and joy. Art styles that are synonymous with words like beauty and comfort and remarkable. And I'll go first with 3 of my personal favorites. TB Choi, Likelihood Art, and Wonbin Lee. These artists are just beautiful. Their drawings are magnificent, and I can't seem to express how much joy I get every time I look at any of their work. I personally enjoy each of their art for different reasons, but I really love how dynamic and expressive TB Choi's drawings are. You can always feel the action in whatever pose the character is taking. I think a good way to explain how her drawings feel is alive. The poses look like poses you will see real people making in day-to-day activities. They don't just feel like drawings, they feel relaxed, casual, but still full of so much energy and expressiveness. I just can't explain how her drawings make me feel in words. You just have to go take a look at her drawings and see for yourself what I'm talking about. The Moe art style. Now, I never really knew what this art style was called, but apparently everyone seems to love it for some reason. It basically is the cute anime art style with really big eyes and bright, vibrant colors. Apparently, it's synonymous with early 2000s anime, and everyone seems to like it. It's basically another form of cell shading with super vibrant, saturated colors, and there's also a fairly good amount of detail on the hair. It's a pretty decent art style, I can't lie, but it could also go wrong at the slightest instance if you end up using a darker color palette or dull, desaturated colors. Although the art style is cute and a lot of people on TikTok say it looks good, there are still a number of people who make fun of the art style because of how the eyes look. They say the size of the eyes and the rather ridiculous space between them makes the art style look silly and disproportionate. Some other people say the large eyes and small mouth make the art style look scary for some reason, but it could also be possible they're only exaggerating for the most part. The Russian art style. The Russian art style, which is coined by how a few Russian artists on TikTok draw and paint their characters, is also one of the few styles people seem to like in the art community. Artists like Pian Yasha, Viv 404 are always in the forefront of the line every time Russian art style is searched for on TikTok. And while some of these artists may possibly not even be Russian, they have automatically created an entire movement with just how they draw. This art style is literally the opposite of the Moe art style. It doesn't have super saturated colors, the drawings are mostly moody and dark, and the characters all seem to be brooding for some reason. This is a rather interesting art style. I think people who want to try and draw and paint like this will probably need to understand how to paint moody lighting with a muted color palette, but there's nothing wrong with trying it out and finding something you like in the process. The anime painterly art style. The anime painterly art style with a little dash of semi-realism is an interesting art style people seem to enjoy in the art community as well, myself included. While some artists take this art style and go crazy with it, adding as many details as possible to their paintings and then rendering them out, some others keep the anatomy stylized but still use realistic lighting when painting the characters. Other artists use a desaturated color palette in their work, while some have very vibrant and bold colors. There's multiple ways of using this art style, and every artist that draws in this art style all have their own way of approaching painting like this. I think it's a very good art style, a lot of people love it, and you'll find a ton of fan arts drawn and painted in this art style as well. Definitely a 10/10 art style I highly recommend. But out of all the art styles on the internet, the art style that caught people's attention and made everyone stop in their tracks, giving other artists a run for their money, is the hyperpigmentation art style.
Posed for like 10 minutes. Let me see the product. Is that me? No, it's nice. It's so nice. Oh, I've never looked better. Ooh, where were you? Where were you when it was time for senior photo?
Now, while some people started making fun of the little girl's drawing and giving it the name hyperpigmentation art style just because of how the girl drew her mom, everyone else thought it was cool and encouraged the girl to keep it up. Other artists started making their own versions of the girl's drawing, and her drawing immediately became popular not just because of what it looked like, but because everyone understood she's just a sweet little kid and was in support of her art. All the comments on the video were all in support of the girl's drawing, with some people even going as far as comparing her to Picasso, saying she could grow up to become an incredible artist in time if she continues to make art. Ladies and gents, cats and kittens, it has finally happened. The community came together to support an artist instead of laughing at them and bullying them. I'm truly proud of everyone and how far we've come. Now all we can do is hope this positivity lasts all through the year, but with how TikTok is set up, just give it a week or two and we'll all be in a new drama entirely. Well, it looks like you've made it to the end of this video. If you enjoyed this video, please leave it a like, share the video with a friend, and subscribe to the channel if you are new here. With all that being said, I'll see all you pretty penguins in the next video. Bye.